Let's have a look at limits of accuracy. Actually, it is the opposite of rounding off. It is the opposite of, if I tell you ये एक length है, how will you record this length? एक length, forget about this temperature. How will you record this length? Very good, very good. That is right. You will call it 2.5 centimeter, but उसके साथ साथ you will say this is 2.5 centimeter, correct to the nearest 0.1 centimeter. Why will you say so? Because 0.1 centimeter so छोटा unit you could not have measured. Agreed? Now imagine that I do not have this length. I do not have the screw with me. And I just look at the reading that you have provided me. And you said it is 2.5 centimeter, correct to the nearest 0.1 centimeter. What are the range of values that I can assume? नहीं, अगर 0.1 ही कम होती तो फिर तो 2.4 रीड हो जाती. 2.4 is readable. अगर 0.1 ज्यादा होती तो 2.6 रीड हो जाती and that is readable. So yes, so that means that your actual value 2.4 और 2.5 के बीच में और 2.5 और 2.6 के बीच में होगी. Is that right? इसी चीज को मैं एक दफा और एक एग्जांपल से और बताता हूँ. फॉर एग्जांपल मैं अगर डायमीटर मेजर करूँ 2.3 सेंटीमीटर, करेक्ट टू द नियरेस्ट मिलीमीटर, अगर कोई मुझे बता रहा है. नाउ मेजरमेंट इज इन सेंटीमीटर एंड समवन इज टेलिंग मी इट इज करेक्ट टू द नियरेस्ट मिलीमीटर, तो पहले दोनों सेम होने चाहिए. So can I call it correct to the nearest 0.1 millimeter? Can I say it this way? Now, if it is correct to 0.1 millimeter, मेरी actual reading 0.1, you said ना in between the two, 0.1 को divide by 2 करो, what do you get? 0.05. 0.05 आप इसमें add करें तो 2.35, subtract करें तो 2.25. So you will say, sir, 2.3 तो हमने बता दी, and that was a limit of our accuracy due to the apparatus that we had. But it is possible that the diameter can exist in between any of these values. This 2.35 is called the upper bound, and 2.25 is called the lower bound. हम क्या कहते हैं? Someone asked us to write it as a range, तो हम ये लिखेंगे भाई 2.35 से 2.25. And how did we get it? It was correct to the nearest 0.1 millimeter. Is that right? Clear है या नहीं है? इसी तरह एग्जाम्पल दे रहा हूं. If I go on a weighing scale और that weighing scale only has multiples of 5, वो कोई बीच की वैल्यू नहीं बताता. And if I stand on the weighing scale and it tells me my weight is 85 kg, what are the range of values for my weight? That is the limit of accuracy of the apparatus. वो 85 बता रहा है, वो 85 के बाद डायरेक्ट या तो 90 बताएगा या 80 बताएगा, but it is telling me 85, right? So what my weight could have been between 80 and 85 or between 85 and 90. अब nearest क्या था? 5. 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. 2.5 add करो 85 में. 80, you'll say your weight is less than 87.5 and greater than or equal to 82.5. So 82.5 is called the lower bound and 87.5 is called the upper bound. Is this clear or not? These are very simple lower and upper bound for directly measured values. फिर इसके और भी कुछ एग्जाम्पल है, बट अभी इंशाल्लाह हम करेंगे तो बात हमें ज़्यादा आसानी से समझ में आ जाएगी. We'll do some questions right now, so we'll understand. Sure. Okay. The distance traveled by an object was 230 meters, correct to the nearest 10 meter. That means that 230 के बाद the next reading that they could have given you is 240, and 230 is before the one reading they could have given you is 220. The time taken is 7 seconds, correct to the nearest second. That means 1 second per round of it. That means if they were to give you any other time, 7 के बाद directly 8 और 7 से पहले उसके in between value they could not have provided. Complete the statement in the answer space. The answer space wanted you to write the range of distance and the range of time. So what will be the range of distance? 10 divided by 2, 5. You 235, write it down, it is the upper bound, and 225 is the lower bound for distance. अच्छा, अगर मैं पूछूं what is the maximum possible value of the distance? Possible value of the distance. The maximum possible value of distance is 234.9999999999999. Is that possible? So just to avoid error, हम उसको 235 लिख देते हैं. But we know if it is 235, तो वो आगे round off. इसलिए हम यहाँ equal to, we do not place an equals to sign here. But if someone asks us what is the maximum, 235 बता दें, because it is 234.99999999999. Okay, now the next thing it is asking you, what was the least possible average speed for the journey? Whenever they ask you speed के बारे में तो कुछ नहीं बताया. Always remember, first you make the formula. Speed का formula लिखो, क्या बनेगा? लिखो distance upon time. Now you decide कि what do you need to use? You need to find the smallest value of speed. Speed की सबसे छोटी value चाहिए. So distance क्या करना चाहिए? Lower bound of the distance, numerator should be as small as possible, and denominator must be, denominator bhi chota ho. How do I get a small number? Let's talk about a fraction. How do I make the fraction small? I reduce the numerator and I increase the denominator. Very good. So distance ka lower bound and time ka, you cannot recognize this without making the formula. Sometimes it is very easy, but I urge you to make formula जब भी कोई ऐसी measured quantity ना हो जिसका upper और lower bound निकालना है. Speed and time were measured with apparatus, तो वो उन्होंने बता दिया. If there is a quantity that you have not mentioned and you need to calculate its upper and lower bound, always make the formula first. That will help you decide that measured quantities upper bound लेना है और lower bound लेना है. So what is the value of speed? 225 upon 7.5, which is, the key word in these questions is nearest. Whenever you see this word nearest, understand you do not just have to directly do the question, you need to use upper and lower bounds in those questions. Okay? Let's have a look at this question. The temperature inside Luke's house is 18 degrees centigrade. The temperature outside is -3. Find the difference between these temperatures. How do we find difference? Higher value minus lower value करके बताओ difference. Write it as question number 2, and all of these are paper 1 questions. ये बता दूं मैं. If you are unable to do any of these questions, 225 divided by 7.5 किया, you got 30. Okay. 21 is the difference. Okay, now Luke's thermometer measures the temperature correct to the nearest degree. At midnight, the thermometer measures the temperature outside as -6 degrees centigrade. Find the upper bound of the temperature outside at midnight. Nearest degree के क्या मतलब? 1 degree. 1 divided by 2, 0.5. If you add 0.5, you get the upper bound. You subtract 0.5, you get the lower bound. What is the upper bound? इसलिए कहता हूँ लिख लो. First write it down so that you're sure about your answers. Is this clear? Okay, now write down the value of 5 in the number 253624. What is the value of 5? Yes, लिखा तो as 5 है, but this 5 represents 50,000. बचपन में पढ़ा था कभी in your childhood place values. So you have written it as 5, but this 5 is just not 5. The value of this 5 is 50,000. 50,000. The crowd at a sports event is exactly this. Exactly. Write down this number correct to the nearest 10. Yes, how did you decide that? ये tens की place value 8. उसके आगे, so this 8 will be rounded up, right? So क्या बनेगा? 35690. Is this clear? Okay, the length of a path is measured as, in ये question numbers को ऐसी copy करो. I'll share the sheet with you as well so you can have a look at these questions. The length of a path is measured as 62 meters, correct to the nearest meter. Nearest meter meaning 1 meter. Write down the upper bound for the length of the path. Yes. 62.5. Eventually you'll be speeding up. The mass of a bag of peanut is 80 grams, correct to the nearest 10 grams. Calculate the lower bound for the mass of 5 of these bags of the peanuts. Hamisha make the formula first. How do you calculate the mass of 5 bags of the peanuts? 5 multiplied by mass of 1 bag. I know it's very easy, but make a habit of making these formula. It will help you in the long run, especially in paper 2. So how do you find the mass? 5 multiplied by mass of 1 bag. So you need total का आपको upper bound, sorry, lower bound चाहिए. So what do you say? Mass of 1 bag क्या लें? उसका upper लेंगे lower? सबका नहीं है ये quantity. This is the only quantity that you are using, mass of 1 bag. उसके बाद you are just multiplying it by 5. तो इसका कौन सा mass लेंगे? Lower bound लेंगे ताकि 5 से multiply के final answer भी lower ही आए, smallest ही आए. Is this clear? 75 multiplied by 5. Do it manually using the 75 grams. A car has a mass of 2400 kg, correct to the nearest 100 kilograms. A caravan has a mass of 1460 kg, correct to the nearest. Calculate the lower bound for the total mass of the car and the caravan. How do we find the total mass? पहले decide करो कि how do we find the total mass? Formula क्या बनता है ना? It's very generic, but बताओ मुझे क्या करोगे? How do you find the total mass? Mass of car plus. That's it. But I know it's very easy, but I want you to make a habit of doing this so that when you encounter difficult questions, you do not have a problem. Now this will help you decide that car and caravan we need to add to get total. The question wants us to get the lower bound of the total, the smallest possible value of the total. उसके लिए car को भी smallest, caravan भी. So multiplication and addition में it is very easy, I know, but फिर भी make a habit of doing that. ठीक है? मल्टीप्लिकेशन में भी अगर दोनों के अपर लें तो फाइनल अपर आता है, एडिशन में भी दोनों के अपर लें तो अपर आता है, दोनों के लोअर लें तो. बट मेक इट अ हैबिट ताकि डिवीजन और सबट्रैक्शन में यू डोंट एंड अप मेकिंग अ मिस्टेक. ठीक है? ओके, सो व्हाट इज द अपर बाउंड फॉर कार? सॉरी, लोअर बाउंड फॉर कार. यस, एंड फॉर कैराvan 1455. 10 divided by 2 is 5. You subtract it. 100 divided by 250. You subtract it to get lower bound. अच्छा, इसमें I urge students to not round off your answers. जो आ रहा answer, write it as it is. Please do not round off in these questions. Is this clear? Okay. A movie lasts for 1 hour and 48 minutes and finishes at PM. Find the time it starts. 10:15 में से क्या subtract करेंगे? 1 hour 48 minutes. अब 15 में से 48 minutes subtract नहीं हो सकते. What did I tell you? How else you can write the same time? Very good. You can write this as 975. किसी को बताते हुए तो हंसी आएगी, but for the sake of calculations, we can do it. 975 में से you are subtracting 148. So that minutes में से minutes आराम से subtract हो जाए. What do you get? 8 25 तो नहीं है, 75 है ना. 1 कैरी करो, 15 में से 8 गया 7. Okay, class. The size of a television screen is given as 95 centimeters, correct to the nearest 5 centimeters. Write down the upper bound of the size of the television screen. निकालो upper bound. 97.5. How did you do it? 2.5. 2.5 add कर दिया. Easy. Why worry? A rectangle has length 64 millimeters and width. Correct to the nearest. Please इसमें units का ख्याल रखो. Write down the lower bound for the length. Write it down so that you're sure about your answer rather than just verbally responding to a random value. The question was only asking about the length. Length 63.5 millimeters. That's it. Now the next part is asking us the perimeter of the rectangle. How do we calculate perimeter? Technically कैसे calculate कर? सबको add करते हैं length plus breadth plus length plus width, right? इसको short करके 2l plus 2 breadth या 2 bracket l plus b लिख देते हैं. So if I want the lower bound, the smallest possible value of the perimeter, what should I do? Very good. Lower bound of length and lower bound of breadth or width. Is that right? Length का lower bound is 63.5. Width का lower bound is 36.5. You can write it as 2l plus 2w or 2 bracket l plus w. Yes, bete. What value are you getting? Decimal addition में ख्याल रखना. Decimal के नीचे you write the decimal. $250. Sorry. कैसे? पहले 12 plus 2w भी करोगे तब भी I guess you'll get 100, I believe. मतलब length plus width is 100. You multiply it by 2 क्योंकि 2 lengths and 2 widths हैं. What is this? What do you get? 5 add हो गया 10 हो गया. 0 carried on. 0 रह गया 1 carried on. 3 plus 6 plus 1 10 हो गया. फिर 0 1 carried on. 3 plus 6 plus 1 10 हो गया. 100.0. Right? Multiplied by 2, you get 200. Is this clear? Okay, the area of a rectangle is given as 8 centimeters square. Correct to the nearest. Okay, can you calculate the lower bound of the area? लिखो इसको. Question 8. This is a tricky question. What do we need to do? What should we do first? क्या बनेगा formula? Wrong. देखा? All the disobedient students will suffer over here. One thing that I've been urging you to do from the very beginning. Wrong. In all the previous ones that we did, this was a very easy one. But पहले मैंने formula लिखा. Addition में simple भी था, 5 into भी था, तो I told you to write the formula. इस वक्त के लिए, this is the reason. Area is equals to values की थोड़ी जरूरत है अभी यहाँ पे. First you make the formula and then we decide the values. Values ऐसे उठा के डालेंगे. Area is equals to. First we need to find length. Length के लिए formula बनाओ. क्या बनेगा? So write that area upon W. This will help us decide. Is this clear? तो length का formula क्या बना? Area upon width. We need to find the lower bound of the length. Smallest possible value of length. Fraction को छोटा करना है. Numerator वेरी गुड. न्यूमरेटर का लोअर बाउंड, डिनोमिनेटर का अपर बाउंड. Is this clear? Width, the question told you it is 2 centimeter, correct to the nearest centimeter. So width ka you will take the upper bound and area ka you will take the lower bound. If you would not have made the formula and directly values use कर लेते तो आपके तो गलत हो जाता. सही है. So whenever you want to find a calculated quantity का upper या lower bound, so पहले you always make its formula and then you decide के measured values में से upper किसका रखना है, lower bound for which particular value. Is this clear? Okay. A car travels at 84 kilometers per hour. Calculate the number of meters that the car travels in 1 minute. Distance is equals to speed into speed किसमें kilometers per, तो time भी किसमें लेना पड़ेगा, hours में. 1 minute hours में कितना हो जाएगा? 1 minute is 1 hour. Wow. पेपर 2 hours का होता है, 2 मिनट में खत्म ना हो जाए बेटे. पेपर 1 1/60. Is that right? तो करो. Speed 84 and time is 1/60. We need to find the answer in meters. तो फिर जो आंसर आएगा वो किलोमीटर्स में होगा. We'll multiply it by 1000 to get the answer in meters. A runner completes a race in 12.3 seconds. Correct to the nearest tenth of a second. ये tenth क्या होता है? What place value is tenth? Yes. 1/10 या 0.1. 0.01 is hundredth. TH लग जाता है. 0.001 is thousandth. कभी बचपन में प्राइमरी में यू मस्ट हैव स्टडीड इट. आई नो भूल जाते हैं बच्चे, बस रिकॉल कर लो. या 10th is 1/10, 100th is 1/100, 1000th is 1/1000. What is the lower bound for the runner's time? मतलब 0.1 of a second. That is what the question is telling you. Yes, the question is asking lower bound. Read the question again. You're making such errors in question number 9. You haven't done the previous all right. We have rounded it off correct to the nearest 0.1 second. So 0.1 को पहले, yes, 0.1 divided by 2. क्या हो गया बच्चों? Which is 0.05. Is that right? इसको subtract कर दो. .25 seconds. Is that is right? Okay. एक last question देखते हैं जरा. A box is a mass of 1.7 kg. Correct to the nearest. Now the same wordings they could have used. Correct to the nearest tenth of a kg. एक और wording जो यहाँ use कर सकते थे. Listen to this. Correct to the nearest 100 grams. सही है. तो ये these are different words that the examiner can use for the same statement, but you need to understand कि दोनों के यूनिट सेम होने चाहिए, जो करेक्ट टू द नियरेस्ट एंड द मेजर्ड क्वांटिटी. ठीक है. सो राइट डाउन द लोअर बाउंड फॉर द मास ऑफ द बॉक्स. फर्स्ट थिंग दैट वी विल डू इज डिवाइड बाय 2. वेरी गुड. यस, kg. The box holds 100 jars. Each jar has a mass of, correct to the nearest, 10 grams. Calculate the lower bound of the total mass of the box, ये ऊपर जो बात हुई थी, and 100 jars. How do you get the total mass? पहले तो ये बात बताओ. Box 100 jars. How do you find the mass of 100 jars? 100 multiplied by mass of 1 jar. देखो. So this habit will take you a very long way. क्या करना पड़ेगा in order to find the lower bound of the total mass? Box and very good. Lower bound of jars भी का भी lower bound लेना पड़ेगा and box का भी lower. Box का तो we already know and we already know it in kg. What about jars? Jars का क्या है? 140 grams. Correct to the nearest. 10 divided by 2 is minus करेंगे 135 grams. But we cannot just add it इस तरह से. हमें इसको किस में convert करना पड़ेगा? kgs में. कितना हो जाएगा ये? 0.135 लिख लें या 135 अपॉन 1000 लिख लें. आगे उसने कैंसिल तो होना ही है ना 100 से मल्टीप्लाई हो. So you can write as 0.135 as well. Then you multiply it by 100. कितना आ रहा है बेटे? 13.5 kg. 13.5 kg. इसको ऐड करेंगे 1.65 में. So what do we get? 15.15 kg.